Hi everyone, I'm Robbie Herring and I'm here today for Live with Prima. Happy International Scrapbooking Day. It's been a blast hanging out with everyone all day. It's been so fun seeing everybody's ideas. And so these are, which kind of brings me to what I'm doing. Mine is less of a technique. We'll be doing some techniques, but more of an idea class today. I love to do little gifts. There's so many times that I need something really quick, and Prima is really, truly my go-to thing if I need to decorate or punch something to make it better. So uh, a couple of things just to let you know that next up is, let me see, next up are Josie and Sally, the OD girls, and they're going, yay, Delana and Sharon are here, and they're going to be at 5 or Eastern time. So about 2 hours from now, they'll be starting. And then there's also, let's see what's going on. Instagram giveaway is going on right now. And Sharon is your hostess on all social media. Y'all don't forget that we're doing things on Instagram, on Pinterest, on Facebook, on Twitter. There's so many places to go and participate and have chances to win. And that brings me to, if you go to my blog, um, it's justthescrap.com. I'm going to be giving away some of what I make today. So be sure to go over there, and it's real simple. Leave me a comment. Nothing really hard to do. Just go leave me a comment and let me know you'd like a chance to win. So let's get started. So like I said, my idea was more about when I'm in a pinch for a gift or if I want to decorate something for the house. I tend to use Prima as my go-to. There's so many different choices. There's so many beautiful things. So I'm going to show you the different pieces first, and then we'll get started. This one is, uh-oh, I messed it up. I must have the schedule. You're right. It does say Miranda is the hostess now. This is a candle. It's a pre-bought candle and it smells fabulous. Um, and instead of just leaving the candle as is, I used relics and artifacts and a few memory hardware beads and some foil. And this became something that I would love to set around in my home or that I could give as a gift. All I did was pull off the tag of what the candle that the candle had on it and replace it with something beautiful that Prima makes. So that is one of the ideas. The other couple of others, this is just a little jar that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. I want to say about $2 because I never buy anything full. I have to buy it on sale. Added a little bit of ribbon, I guess it's a memory hardware trinket, a little bit of paper, and I'm good to go. I've got something really pretty. And I filled it with bath salts. And I'll give y'all more ideas on how I think that becomes a gift later when we get to it. This one is probably the easiest of the group. This is a bottle that I thought would be pretty that could have bath stuff in it, or I mean, pretty much anything you wanted. You could use some oil or something special that you wanted to put in it. You could use a special oil and maybe put a tag on it with a recipe card. So many different ideas that you can use just a plain, simple bottle. And this is really nifty. In fact, it seals so tight, it's actually difficult to get off of it. So this will seal great, which I love. So this kind of bottle is great. And it is so simple that it is metal. It's thin metal. It's another trinket, just bits and pieces of things that I had here in my stash and was able to turn into something really pretty really easily. And then the last thing that we're going to really talk about today is I am a bracelet junkie and I love to layer bracelets. So these are just bangles that I had, and I'm pretty much always have bracelets on. And I punched it up by mixing some I already have and using one of the relics, and I'll pull it up closer, using one of the relics and artifacts roses from the same package that I used on the candle. So just if you have one left over in a package, you can pull that or whatever you like. And just layered it with some of my bangles, and I have something really pretty to wear. And then I'll show y'all more stuff as we get, because I do have some extra stuff made just in case. But let's get started with the candle. And I will tell you that all that, with the exception of the gold little bracelet, was in my house. I didn't have to run out and get stuff. And I love things like that because if I'm in a pinch, the last thing I have time to do is run out and grab something. Well, with my Prima in the house, I don't have to. I can go find what I have. This is a different candle that we're going to do. This one is just a Yankee candle, and it had a tag on, or a, their thing on it. I love most of the candles because you can still see what the fragrance is on the bottom. So even when you pull this off, you still have the fragrance. I didn't paint the lid, but I think I'm going to go ahead and go gold like I did on the last one. So you could even take the metallic paint that matches the foils you choose and paint the lid or put something on the lid. For these, I chose not to because frankly, when I put my candles out to truly use, I usually get rid of the lids. So all we did with this is this is Relics and Artifacts. It's Archival Cast Flora. And you can see there are 6 in this package, and they are really great size. If I put my hand here, and I have large hands, so you can really see that these are substantial. And this is 942663. And I happen to have 2 pink candles, so we're going to stick with pink for this one. But I think we'll play and change up the color a little bit on some of the next ones. So for this, I'm going to do it exactly like the other. This one is Metallic Vintage Rose, and this is number 963-200. And all I did was take my Relics and Artifact, take this, and I'm going to go ahead and for the candle, I don't need this, so I'm going to go ahead and take that off before I get started. And y'all know I'm going to end up messy because I'm using paint. And of course, I thought I was prepared. Let's see. I don't have anything laying here that I can put under it. We'll just clean up as we go. It's all good. And just give this a quick coat. Actually, we'll just use the plate. A quick coat of the pink paint. And I know online it's going to be a little difficult for y'all to see the sheen in these paints, but they are fabulous. And let's see if I can get it up close where you can see. So I'm just giving, yeah, you kind of can see. You can see how that metallic paint is stunning. And you don't have to gesso or anything to do this. If you want more coverage, you can do a couple of coats. And I did. So we'll probably dry this up. These are acrylics, so they dry super quick. And after watching Miranda the last show, she's great at keeping up quite a bit with the chat. I'm not so hot at it. So if anybody needs me, somebody will text me and tell me to look. I love this pink too. It is a really, really soft, I mean, it's just truly beautiful. And there are other pink choices too. The Opal Magics have, I think there's an aqua pink and a gold pink. So, but this one stays pink. See, I'm already getting messy. Now, I will tell you, I'm making sure I get the sides too because on the candle, they are going to show. So you do want to make sure with these you get the sides. The second coat won't be necessary. I just do want it to be pink and not white though. All right, and I'm going to give it a quick dry. Takes a little longer than that. I didn't give it quite enough time. Making sure I get the edges a bit. And then, like I said, I'm going to give it just a tiny bit more of a coating to make the pink really pop. And you can see how this is going to be beautiful and almost match perfectly. If your candle's a little bit of a different color, you may not want to have quite as much pink on it. And you can even mix a little bit of water in with this paint and have it more mottled. And of course, any colors. There's a lot of colors available, so you can match up your candles with your paints. or go with white and just add stuff that way. There's so much versatility in this. Okay, so that is all. We're going to give it a quick dry again, and then I'll hold it up. And I'll see if I can read. Oh, I see you did a color chart, Barbara, for the Opal Magics. That's what's so cool about them, is that you can do them on black, you can do them on white, and they look different. And I know that I've seen them done. In fact, I think Sharon did some and showed you how they looked on different colors. So they kind of pick up different colors all over the, depending on what you put it on. So that is a neat thing about those. They're very cool. Okay. Taking a little bit longer to dry. Okay, so now y'all can see that this stuff is so shiny. It's so fun. Such a fun product. Okay, now, next thing I did is I took some Fabri-Tac, and actually I'm going to keep this. I'll put it here on the side. And if you've watched my other shows, if you watched my frame show, you've seen me use the Fabri-Tac with the glue before. This is the same thing. And what I'm going to use is Intergalactic, and this is number 585624. And this, we're going to foil on here to get that golden, I'll show y'all here, to get this gold edging. But I want to show y'all how again, or if you weren't here so you can know how to do it, because this is a lot of fun. We've all been hanging out, so most of y'all have heard me say I put this foil on everything, and it's really no joke. I really have gotten to the point where I put it on everything. So this is a little messy. I'm putting my finger in it, and I'm going to come up close, and I'm just going to rub and put it on the edges. And this with this, it's dimensional, so I want it to pick up in some of those spots. And the trick to this is making sure that the Fabri-Tac is not super wet. You want it to be tacky. So if it's still super wet, it's not going to attach as well. But if it's tacky, it'll attach. So, and then all you're going to do is take the foil and give it a rub. And it's going to pick up wherever that glue is. And here we go. Super duper fast, easy, no time at all. And there's a million things you could stick these to. Okay. Sorry, I know I went off. I didn't want to had to get back on camera. Yes, make sure it's not super wet. You want it to be very tacky. If it's too wet, it won't grab. If it's tacky, it grabs beautifully. So see how much gold that gives? And then the other thing is too, because you're going to see the edges, make sure on a project like this that you make sure you get some on the edges. You don't need to cover your edges perfectly, but I'm just going to give it a little bit here and there. And you can actually see, because y'all, if you've used Fabri-Tac, you know it dries pretty quick. So you can tell that it's already pretty dry, and my fingers aren't really sliding anymore. So just keep using it. And here we go. And I'm just going to get some on all these edges. And this is just one of my leftover sheets that I've been using. And I do not throw any of this away, because if there's any foil left on it, you can use it for this. So it's a great way to use the ones where you don't have quite enough room to truly do a whole sheet of the rub-ons, to just do something like this and use the bits and pieces. You can see I got the edges too, just enough to show. And that is all there is to that, y'all. So next up is to attach it. You can see I've gotten foil on my mat. This is a sticky mat, so it kind of catches it. For glass, You definitely don't want to just use a hot glue gun. I prefer E6000, and I am going to use that so that this will hold permanently, but I'm going to cheat a little bit today and also use some hot glue so it'll grab quick for the purposes of the class. So a little bit of E6000. And by the way, it's the silliest tip ever, but one of my most frustrating things with E6000 is that the big bottles dry out so fast for me before I use them. And I discovered these little ones, and they are amazing because you can use a little bit here and there, and it's all gone before it dries out, and I don't find it as frustrating. Whoops, I think it said, well, I said I was going to use hot glue gun. Let's see if it's not going to work for me. Give me one sec. It's not wanting to feed my hot glue. I bet I can push it through. Not had that happen before. It's a live thing. It only happens when it's live. So I'm going to have to manually push this through. At least it's getting hot, so that's the big part. Okay, and then I'm just going to place it here. And let it grab hold. And so that is pretty, and you can put anything. I chose to put memory hardware beads, pearls, and these are, let's see, this one is 990381. And whoops, I'm knocking stuff off. Let's see. There, that'll hold it maybe. It's going to roll on me now because I've got the weight here. Let's do it this way. It's going to be one of those. Going to be dropping stuff and throwing stuff. And then what I like to use with the memory hardware, with the beads and even with other beads, just because I like the control of glossy accents. And so I'm going to fill it with glossy accents. I'm going to have glue issues the whole time. This doesn't want to come out now. See if I can, which it should, because I've had a pin in it for that very reason. There it goes. I just have to laugh because what do you do when it happens, right? There's nothing we can do when we're live and things start going wrong. And what I did is I just layered a few beads in there, and then I added a bit more. Give me one sec. Let me see if I can fix this so we don't continue to have issues, because I'm going to need it later too. Okay. And then I added some on the top. And the reason I went ahead and put the beads down there is I wanted it, even though it may seem a little bit wasteful to have the beads kind of covered up, I wanted wherever it showed for it to be that gold. And I used mostly the smaller pearls. And you could just keep adding until you like it. I didn't spend too much time worrying if the holes showed. I don't think anybody really looks that closely at things like this. But if it's something that really bugs you, then make sure you can even take a pin and put it in and real easily and turn them. And there you go. That is it. I would say 10 to 15 minutes max for a gift that's ready to go as soon as it dries. So that is the first idea. And let me put that, I'm going to put it where it can lay flat and dry. Because it does take a tiny bit of time for those glossy accents to dry. And let's see. Okay, next up, I'm going to put these away. We're definitely revisiting the pearls because they're one of my go-to things. Next up, let's go ahead and do this. This is, like I said, just a little jar I picked up for a couple of bucks. I think, in fact, I know I got it at Hobby Lobby. And I got another one, just like it. Now, this one I had to go get. So, anyway, so this one we're going to use the Trinket. And this idea is another super easy. You can go any colors you want. And let's go ahead and stick with pink for now. And this, let's see, here's the trinkets. These trinkets are great too. They come 3 in a package, and they have the clear pieces that cover whatever you put inside. So this is 991135. And we're going to use, let's see which one I used. Looks like I used the big one. And we're going to use that. Well, we're not going to bother with that. I'm going to set it aside. I'm going to have stuff everywhere before this is all said and done. Okay, and then I used the Tales of You and Me note cards. As you know, there's 15 designs, but there's 3 of each. And I love that. So you have all your choices. And I think they're great for small things like this to cut. And so I'm using just one of the little cards. But I still have this card if I want to go back to it and use it for, you know, a different project. So there's plenty of these to use if you. These little domes make it perfect because you've got the perfect size. And all we're going to do is cover it up, or do a circle around it. And I just chose a little spot that's pretty. And if I had scissors, I would cut it out. There they are. And we're going to cut this out real quick. And you need to be pretty close when you cut this circle, but not perfectly close, because once you put I guess it's an acrylic piece on the top of it, it kind of, it gives you a little wiggle room. It hides a few little flaws. But like this, I missed a bit. You can always erase a little bit of that line, and we'll make sure it fits. And if it doesn't, we'll trim it down a bit. And it does. So, and it's a tight fit, so I'm going to have to pop it out. Again, I'm using the glossy accents for this. And I'm not using a lot. And the reason being is once you close this up, it takes it a little while to dry. You can place it however you want, and you want it to dry clear. So in an ideal world, if we weren't live, I would let this dry for a bit. Since we're live, I'm going to go ahead and do it, but I'm even going to be a little more careful just to put a bit of glossy accents around the edge and not on the whole thing. And that'll hold that cover on for me without giving me a milky look over this. And it will be, when it's all truly dry, because this dries extremely clear, it'll be really shiny and you won't be able to see any of that milkiness. So that is all on that. And then all I did was I took some of the Hug Snugs theme binding. If you watch me at all, you know this is definitely a go-to supply for me. I'm going to set that aside and let that dry a bit. Moving stuff out of the way. And let's actually not cut it first. So along the bottom, I wanted it to be not just a trinket. I wanted it to have something along the bottom because this one is fairly simple. So instead of just having the ribbon at the top, at the bottom, I took a little bit of Fabri-Tac and I worked just kind of in little sections. And all I did was, all I did was I took it and I kind of crinkled it as I went. And as you know, it takes just a second for this to grab. So I'm going to try to kind of hold it all at one time. Now, you don't need to worry about this being perfect or anything, because after it starts to dry, you can push it down. Still a little too wet. So, good enough to grab though. And then just keep working your way around. And I just did it at the bottom, so it'd kind of be sitting on a little bit of ribbon. And you don't want your loops too big because you want it to look really gathered together. But as you can see, I'm getting glue all over this. I did the last time too. It's supposed to be quick and easy, and it is, because it's one of those things you don't have to worry about it. You're just giving it that look. And I do like all these projects too, and I love using the metals and the trinkets and all these things that Prima makes that are very basic, because you can choose to add in more flowers or whatever. But if you can match people's colors, you know, your close friends, you know what their colors are, and you can match their colors and make it perfect for them or what they love. The glue does seep into the ribbon a tiny bit, but because of the loops, when they smash down, you don't really see it. And in fact, you don't see it at all. But yes, it does seep in a tiny bit. Whoops, didn't get that. But the loops make it, any place that it might look a little wonky, the loops take care of. Now I'm to the point where I've got it on my fingers and it's wanting to stick to my fingers instead of the glass. Okay. So that is all that part, and I'm going to trim it a little bit. And you can see where I laid this, I've already gotten it flat. And I'm going to smush these down. And you can work with this a little bit. Moving fast, I'm not even going to, but just a touch. But so we've got that, and then we have this ugly little mesh right here. So I gave it a quick bow. This ribbon is really sticking to my fingers after this. Okay, and this is a simple bow. It is a shoestring bow, but I don't want both of them, except I missed. I don't want both of them, both the tails going down. So I am gonna purposely place one of the tails going up and one going down. I've got this a little tight. That's why I'm missing. I don't have any wiggle room in my ribbon. And then, let's see. Okay. Then we can tweak it a little bit. And that way. There we go. I think I've got glue on this ribbon too. And don't worry about this. The seam binding sometimes will wrinkle up a little bit, but we're going to mist it here in a second, and it'll take care of that. So here we go, and we're going to cover that little messy spot. A little bit of Fabri-Tac. I've got ribbon stuck. Even the little pieces are stuck to me. Okay, and that's not done yet because we're going to mist at the end all of it. And then I took some of the ribbon. And I'm going to set this, well, I'll do it flat. Okay, so I wanted to wrap it, so I did wrap it a little bit. I didn't just tie a bow, and that kind of covers that whole thing, which I think is prettier if we go ahead and cover that instead of just having it just one flat piece. Sorry, sometimes it's a little harder to work at this angle. All right, and then give it a knot. Now I want it to dangle down a bit so that it hangs pretty, and you can see on this one how I've left it a little loose here. So we're going to leave it a little loose so that the trinket will lay pretty on the front. Loop our little trinket through and give this one a bow. And this one is just going to be a shoestring bow because no matter what you do, they're both going to hang down. but I do want it to be a pretty bow. All right. Actually, let's get that one a little shorter. And then last thing, we are going to give it a little mist. And I don't have the number for this, but this is the Prima misters, and these are great. I'm using this particular one for water, but it does have the ball in it, so they're fabulous to use for mixing colors. If you want to mix, you know, your paints with water and mist, or you want to mix your micas or anything like that, give this a bit of a mist. If you have any place like right here that's not sticking down real well, give it a mist, and you can go ahead and stick it down. And dry it off a bit. And you are ready. Instant gift. I was trying to look at the time. I think about 10 minutes. So, ready for bath salts, ready for bath oils. You could even put a little bit of soap. I found this little bottle that it's got the top that you could put soap in it. You could hang a trinket from it. I think an idea that, being that this class is all about ideas, one of the things I really like about something like this is you could put it with a loofah sponge and a few bath things, and then you have your pretty piece and you have some of your basics. It could be a Pamper Me thing for Mother's Day. So lots of different ideas. Just think about even cooking oils again for this, with the adding just a beautiful trinket, and you're good to go. No fuss, no muss, really fast. Okay, next up, let's see. The bracelet is exactly the same as the other technique, only I used a rose. So I thought, since we ought to go ahead and do it just for fun, that I would use a different color for that. So I pulled out blue because I am here they are. And again, these are that same package. There's 6 in here. So you could do 6 projects just with this package alone, which is pretty cool. Again, that number is 942663. And let's even use a different one. Let's use this one. I think this one's pretty. So we're going to use that and do the exact same thing, only I think I got 2 different colors. I think we're going to use this deep waters. This is number 963118. And let me get the paintbrush. I talk to myself a lot during these classes, y'all. Sorry about that. Okay, this, again, look at the sheen. So pretty. All right. Now this, I want to show you a little tip before we start painting. One thing about the bracelets, and here it is. One thing about the bracelets and using any of the relics for jewelry is these things this one is really pretty tight, but and I'm not going to do it here. Well, I guess I can. I don't think it'll dry fast. No, I'm not going to, because it won't hang if I do it. But one of the things I want you to think about is take these out before you wear them. Dip them in the tip of the thing. You can even use it. You're already holding them in your pliers. Dip it in the top of your E6000. Screw it back in, and that'll make that a permanent hold. You know, so if you hit it on something while you're wearing it, it's not going to come off. So be sure to stabilize that. For the show, I'm not going to do it because, as we know, E6000 takes a little bit to dry, and I want to be able to string it, put it on something for y'all. So this is, I already told y'all the name. Okay, same thing. I'm going to start on the edges here. And y'all can see this is a deep, almost a royal. It's, if you haven't seen it, it's a really deep, beautiful blue. There's a turquoise. There's the emerald that has blue undertones in it. So there's so many colors to choose from. But I thought, basically, I mean, it's exactly the same technique, but I thought, it'll be fun to do a wearable too while we're doing this. I noticed I just hit my camera. Sorry about that, y'all. Hope it didn't make you seasick. And you can see I'm pretty much using what I have on the lid. This paint goes a long way. If it's a little thicker than you would like and you want it more mottled, give it a quick mist of water or add a tiny bit of water into it. I mean, even do it on your mat, and that'll take care of that for you. I'm loving this color and the full coverage. Now, for this one, you definitely, because you're going to be wearing it, you are going to want to do the back. So let me set that aside. Let me draw the front. Anything that, whoops, I missed a spot I see already. Anything that's going to be hanging or that you're going to see the back, just take a moment to do it. Like I said, these are acrylics. They're fast. That's right. There is a blog hop going on. Y'all are definitely ahead of me. I'm trying to read it. I even messed up on who was the hostess. All right. And let's give the back a touch. And I'm going to hit the spots I missed. Now that it's dry where I can touch it, I can see any little spot I might have missed. And I'm going to give the back a quick coat. See, I think that covers most of it. All right. So let's give this a quick dry. And I'll bring this up close here in a sec. But I do want to make sure. And when you're working with it, you really don't mind if it's a little bit tacky, because that just gives more places for the foil to stick to. So look with this relic how that picks up, that color picks up all the shadowing. This color's amazing. Oops, I missed a few spots getting it dry, obviously. Okay, same thing. We're going to take some of the glue. And I think I'm going to stick with gold. I could do silver. I think gold. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you asked that question, Janelle, because I purposely wanted to talk about, yes, I do think you should seal them. So what I did, and this one is sealed, what I didn't worry about it so much on the candle, but it probably wouldn't be a bad idea for when handling. But what I did do is I went with it and I used soft gloss gel. And you can tell from this one, it still has tons of sheen and all that, but it is sealed to where it's not going to, the foil will not rub off. And the soft gloss gel is, where's the number? 961435. So that is, because I had the same thought, that is exactly how I did it, was I sealed it with that. And we are finished with this. And I do not want to waste a drop, so definitely have to put it away. And so let's give this one. I haven't actually done this one, so I'm curious to see. I know it'll be so pretty with all the dimension, but I definitely am curious to see how this one picks up. And remember, keep it fairly dry. You want it tacky. We're going to go ahead and use the same gold. And just with this, just kind of push it in there. Oh, wow. Love that. You can see where that's going. I like these too because to do the jewelry, if you like silver or gold or any of the other foils, you could mix a bunch of foils. But this is such an easy way to match something you want to wear or a group that you already have, especially when you start layering it. Wow. I think this one's my fave. Isn't that pretty? Okay. Now, again, I want that continuity. So because it's a bracelet and the back may be seen, probably not on purpose, I am gonna, some of this little bit that's left here, I'm just gonna rub on the back, make sure I get a little bit on the side, here and there. And let's put that on. And so that gives us some of that color on the back. And you can do as much or as little as you would like. And then this one has this opening. So the last bracelet I didn't put beads in, but I think this one I want a few beads in. So let's see. We'll use some of these little ones again. May have to give my bead thing a shake. Let's see if we think these will be good. Oh yeah, that'll work. There it is. Me move that one there. That way. So that is really pretty. And you could even go back in and mix the blues. You could put some seed beads around it in the golds. I happen to have these on my table, the turquoise. They would be beautiful with the turquoise paint. And then what I love about these too is these I picked up like 3 in a package for a couple of dollars. I love these because the Relics, whoops, I don't have that dry enough to be doing that yet. Gonna have to let this dry, but it should be, by the end of the show, it should be dry enough to show y'all what it'll look like with the grouping. But here we go. So it's going to be really pretty with the gold. Let me move it in. And I do think that I may go back and put, I got to quit touching it because I keep sticking it to my own fingers. I may go back and put in a little bit of micro beads or something. So either way you like, it's good to go, and you can do it to your specifications and what you favor. I think trying to find places to set everything to let them dry. I think that there's so many options in the relics and artifacts. I did a cross on a leather. So these were some ideas. I thought this is one of the relics crosses. And so you can fit any style. I don't know where it went. Oh, there it is. I was going to say I did silver bracelets too. And I'm really not joking when I say that I wear bangles all the time because I had these in my stash. So I did a cross on the bangles with silver. Let's see if I can get it. So you can see that all the details show. And I used black paint, and you could use gesso or anything, or you could use a black metallic, and then add silver to it. So that goes. And then the other thing that I thought would be really super cute is to make keychains out of them. Just brainstorming. I thought, well, you could make keychains out of them and use them as gift bag tie-ons. There's a million uses. And so many of these have so many in a package. Like the crosses have, I think, 7 in a package. So you could do tons of little things. Like I have these bangles, and I thought it would be pretty to do a turquoise one and match it up and use some pearls because these have like a pearl look to them. So a million ideas that you can do with that. So hopefully that has gotten your own wheels turning a little bit. And I am going to clean my hands a little bit because I can't really touch anything anymore. Whoops. They're with the extra package of relics if you're wondering what are all the extra ones. Thankfully, I'm not going back to those right now because they just all dumped on the floor. And I didn't do that. I want to make sure I get this in. If y'all use another tip for the glue, the glossy accents, putting a pin in it is a great way to keep it open. It generally works, not live, but generally. But if you do that, make sure you use a stainless steel pin. Otherwise, you'll get it'll rust in there. So I'm going to see if I can get a little bit of glue off, and then we'll move to the next section. And a little paint. I don't know why I'm so messy. I mean, I'm kind of messy when I work anyway, but for some reason on the shows lately, it's gotten really out of hand. Okay, now, so this one is the bottle I showed you originally. And I moved the bow. And it's just got some ribbon around it. It's got ribbon tied. It's got ribbon tucked. But for this one, I thought it might, for the class, I thought it might be more fun to do it on a colored one. So I have this little colored bottle, and mainly just to show y'all that it doesn't have to be any one color. You can choose. And I love the idea of these things that we can mix and match and suit our personal needs for what the gift is or what the recipient is or what we need in our own home. And let's see. When I got this, I did not think about it not being straight, but we'll make do. We'll be able to. I was trying to think what I could put to make sure it stays. Make it easier to stay upright. Let's see what we got. How about some of my baby wipes? And, all right, this, no, that's not going to work. That's going to bother me. Okay, we'll just make do. So this I used vintage trinkets, and this is 960339. I don't think anything else will drop. I think the last of the relics just hit the floor. And you can see in this package that there are a whole lot of pieces. And I used most of them, but I still have some of the silver left over. I also used a trinket from the last package. So it's always a good idea to hang on to all those bits and pieces, because you never know when you're going to want to tuck them in on a project, on a gift, the millions of ideas we all have. Every time I'm on Facebook or Pinterest or whatever, I'm blown away by so many of the things you all do and the ideas you come up with. Okay, so for this one, I used those, and I used... Grab my trinket again, and I'll remind you of this number just in case. It's 991135. And so I thought these would all look really pretty on this bottle as well. And I'm going to open them up a bit, and we're going to be doing the same thing here. I'm gonna use hot glue for the small pieces today, but they will be popped off in E6000 or even glossy accents added to them. For the speed of the show, I'm gonna go with it, but they will not hold on. The hot glue will not hold the metal on glass long term. So definitely take a little more time when you're doing it yourself. So although this is really quick to do, it's going to need a touch of drying time unless you know of a glue. I don't, that will glue faster. So this, all I did was take these pieces, and I started with this trinket, and I did use the different trinket on the last one, but we're going to, I don't know, here's a bigger, actually here's a little bit bigger one. We're going to use this one that's a bit bigger. Okay, for this, you can see that instead of using the dome, I wanted to add some flowers. So these, I honestly cannot even find the number of. They're just bottle flowers, and I'll show you the bottle that I have in my stash. And I think that's what's neat about all this, is being able to just go in your stash and see what you have. I love that so many of Prima's products come in a lot of quantity and everything. So these are like August Gladiolas. No clue, y'all, but these just happen to be in my stash, and I use those. Since we're doing blue, I wanted to point out that you can go with white flowers. Here's little tinies. So your little tinies are great to tuck in and about all these trinkets that, you know, for this type of project. You can use your brand new. You can use the stuff that you've been hoarding for so long. We talked about hoarding. A rice bag, I see that. We talked about hoarding on the other deal. Yeah, and it's bothering me. Y'all can tell, right? Here, I've got some beads here that are that color. We're going to find something. Here, and then we'll use my paints. I told y'all I had not really decided what colors I was doing when I started the show. There, that's better. At least that'll be good. Okay, So for this one, I just started off with this, back on topic, and I'm going to go ahead and stick with gold because I've got Frank's gold beads here. And I just wanted to tuck a couple of flowers in it. And I'm going to go ahead and use white ribbon, I think. And if I decide to change it, I can. These are, and I'm sorry, these aren't on the list, so let me give you. It's 581831. Yay, I see somebody. They're worth $1 million. Retro Prima. I'm sorry, y'all. I know I probably shouldn't have, but I couldn't resist because I have them and they're terrific for this type of thing. And I am going to add a couple of little flowers in here. I'm not going to admit how many jars of flowers I have. Long before I was a Prima designer, I have been a long time Prima customer and Prima hoarder and Prima gotta have it girl. And so this, I'm just taking a couple of these little flowers. And let's see. And I actually chose the flowers that already have the gold, whoops, helps if I get in the thing, that already have the gold beads. So now I'm going to take a couple of, oops, those are stuck together. I probably glued them together at some point. There we go. And I'm going to tuck a couple of gold beads, maybe 3, we'll see. I am surrounded by stuff. I've got so many things open for this class. But I'm loving doing this. It's kind of fun just to do an idea class and not have to, you know, just kind of brainstorm. It's been a blast today. I've loved it. Love seeing what everybody's done. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry a little bit. But a little bit of glossy accents, a few beads. We still have our bling, which I love. You could even take that third one in the package and tie it. I'm not going to today, but I am going to set one of these on top at the end. But for right now, let's start gluing this down. Sorry, I keep putting my arm in the thing. It's because I have stuff everywhere. Another thing, just while I'm thinking about it, because I saw it laying here, you could even do that same technique with the Fabri-Tac on these metal pieces. And this color in the Bora Bora foils would be stunning mixed on. And don't be surprised if you see me go back and do that, because I'll eventually get some pictures, probably today, but I'm not making promises for today. Probably get some pictures of these so I can put them up and let y'all see the close-ups of them. All right. Really wish my hot glue gun was working better. But I am, like I said, I am going to use hot glue, but do not do this in real life. I can't believe it broke. Well, I've been wanting a new one, and I've been coveting Miranda's with the stand. It looks like it's happening in my life very soon, because this one bit the dust. And I'm just going to kind of go with pretty much what I did on the last one. Hot glue has become a two-handed job today. Let's build this. Let's go ahead and stick this here. And this you can build any way you want to, whoops, any way you want to cluster. Actually, let's do it this way because this isn't dry enough. Like I said, the glossy accents take a little bit to dry. So we'll go straight onto the glass for that. Let's tuck it in. Totally messed that up. The beauty of that glossy accents, though, it is so clear that it's not going to matter that I have gotten glue here and there in the process. It'll dry totally clear. Let's see what we got here. It's automatic how you use a glue gun, so y'all have to bear with me a bit. And it's very automatic. Even just saying it, I did it again. I'm not sure I got enough on that for it to catch, but maybe so. And then these, the same thing, they're going to need to tuck in. And actually, let's see. No, that won't work. Let's do it this way. I think I may have gotten this. I can't get hold of this one. I got it stuck to my finger. Give it a few tucks. Got a little bit of string on there. And I can already see something I think I forgot to grab. I did use some little flat back pearls that happen to be the exact same color to add a little bit of extra little pearls here and there on this. I did not manage to bring them with me that I can see. Sorry about that. But you could even take some little bling to match these pieces, and that would be great too. And then what I did was I added pearls, the gold pearls, or the gold pearls to match. And I'm not going to do that till after we tie the bow, since that's going to take a bit. Let's get the bow tied first. So this one, since I did the white, I'm going to go ahead and do the white here. Don't use hot glue. What glue is better would probably be E6000. That tends to be what I will use. Hot glue over time, it'll pop right off of the glass. So definitely use something like E6000. I see people saying beacons. I'm sure you can do that. And then I see, oh, the blue pearls. I have a problem, and if it's a bead, I kind of am drawn to it. So they're just beads for my stash. It's terrible. Let's see what she's saying. Use 3D matte gel. Does the 3D matte gel, will it stay long term with the glue? I mean, with the glass? And then let's see. I'm just going to tie this one. Just give it a little bit of ribbon. And give it a little bit of a mist because I want it to be that clicking's bothering me. Okay, it's a little difficult to get the ribbon, but it'll hang real pretty once it stands up. And I want to shorten it up a little bit because I do want all this stuff to show. So and scoot it over a bit. And I also, one last thing to glue, I want to glue at the top, on top of the cork, so that we have that continuity across there. So you can see that, and we're going to stick pearls in it. And since I've already admitted my pearl habit, let's go ahead and go with these blue ones for the large centers. I think they're too big. These are just glass beads. They're very pretty, but laying here, they actually are the perfect match for this. So let's just on this, the large one, and I am going to put one in here at the top, but I'm not going to do it on the show because it's just going to fall off. And this I'm going to need to add, because this is pretty big here. Whoops, pretty big here. I'm going to need to add a little bit of extra glue to it. And then I'm still going to use, and remember what I said, I've got that, you can see a little bit maybe that it's seeping down in there. This glue will dry totally clear and hold that pearl perfectly. But for the smaller ones, I'm going to stick with the Prima Memory Hardware's pearls. Let's see, we want a small one. Whoops, hey, good catch. My project caught it for me. Then I want one of the ones that's a little bit, let's see. Here's one. A little bit larger one, so they're not all exactly the same. that is, I've got a little thing there that is popping up. So you can bend these up a little bit to hold it, but for some reason it's not wanting to sit in the center on, oh, you know what it is? It's the hot glue. So when I change it to 6,000, that'll sit in the center. That hot glue back there is kind of popping it up in there. I could not figure out why, because these are totally flat back there. And like I said, then I scattered a few little flat back pearls, just any that match, or like I said, you could use anything you wanted. Now that I'm looking at this, I'm really not liking how white this is. So okay. I knew I had the turquoise here, and I think this will match, or at least close enough. What else do I have here? I'm looking at what's sitting right here by me, but let's use a little bit of this turquoise. I wish I had gold paint sitting here next to me, but I don't. So I'm going to add a tiny bit. Let me rinse this off. And this is what I love about having so many great products, is you can kind of go on the fly with what's going to work for you. That's why whoever said we were hoarders, they just don't know we really need all this stuff. I'm going to add some water and get this really watery, which this is way more paint than you need. But I think it's going to be close enough. Okay, and I'm just going to give it some touches. And like I said, may even come back in here with a bit of tea stain. We're already here over an hour, so I hate to make y'all wait while I go grab the tea stain so we can see. And then let's actually give these a mist. If you give these a mist of water, and I've seen Carrie show y'all, I've seen a bunch of them, but you can just touch all this and it'll soak it in. And let's get us a little bit of, so there we go. We're getting a little bit of color. I'm liking the way this is going better, getting us little color. And I can't stand it. We're going to go one more second because I'm going to grab the tea stain. Okay. And let's just add a tiny bit. And I'm going to, whoops, sorry, I hit the camera again. I'm going to use the brush just so I can, yeah, I like that. And get a little bit of color. Getting rid of that starkness of the white I like a lot. So you can go through and kind of play with this. And my blue is still wet. Another thing is to kind of let it dry and you won't get, but I'm good with it kind of blending together. And there we go. And let's put a tiny bit on these. Yeah, and when these dry, these flowers will pop right back up in the shape you want. So you can see how adding the tea stain is toning down the starkness of that white. And of course, you know, keep adding if you'll have a little more time. But even then, taking another 4 or 5 minutes, whoops, just knock that center off. I can't speak. And there we go. And I'll put the center back on. Let it dry. So there you go. So you can see that. You can add the gold if you'd rather have the gold in the center. You can add, don't forget to add one at the top. And we are done. So like I said, the ideas are endless. There's always, somebody always comes up with something that I wonder how in the world they thought of that. So I love just sitting down and playing and seeing where it goes. So that is all for today. I appreciate y'all being here so much. It means so much to us for y'all to come and hang out and share with us. And it's just a blast. And I've grabbed my schedule because I want to tell you. Next up is the OD girls, and they are going to be doing a Live with Prima show. There is also an Iron Orchid Decor DT blog hop, so you want to go watch for that. There's an Instagram giveaway, and Sharon I think I'm right this time. Sharon is your hostess for that, but you'll see the Prima girls all over Facebook. Everybody's participating, and the Prima guys. So definitely be sure to go and check out the blog if you get lost on the schedule. It's all right there. And thanks so much, y'all, for coming. And I will see y'all in the chat in a little under an hour. Bye, y'all.